is the most followed lawyer on TikTok.
Gives his followers some legal advice and a cool.
Just over 6 million followers, which is pretty incredible.
Sales head, this is the sales head, this is me, this is LawByMike. He said that they got 3 times more leads in the last 3 months than they have in the last 3 years due to the systems and the AI chatbot we built for them. You can find more of it on the case study here, including the video. I'm speaking the truth. Imagine you're an influencer getting hundreds of messages every single day, half of them good potential leads. You are missing out because you don't respond to them on time because you don't have the time to respond to them on time, and more than half of their cases needs immediate attention. That's exactly the problem faced by LawByMike, this guy that you see right here, one of the biggest influencers in the US, especially in the legal space. And what happened was he was getting hundreds of DMs and he was not able to respond on time. Research shows that if you don't respond to a lead within the first 5 minutes, the chance of you losing them is 400%. 400%. That's the chance of you losing a lead just because you forgot to respond them on time. And especially in the legal space, things are very time sensitive. So you need to respond on time immediately. If not, they're going to go to a different law firm provider. And the funny thing is, we started working together long back. It's about to be a year. So March 2024, I took a screenshot of this on my Instagram. Then we initially started working together, and I was a big fan of LawByMike before we started working together. When he booked a discovery call, I was actually surprised. I was like, hey, I recognize you from somewhere. And that's when it clicked. I'm like, you are LawByMike. I've seen your stuff. You're a very funny dude. That's exactly what I told him. It's like, you're a very funny dude and I love your content. And it's an absolute privilege working with him. And the best thing is, we're still working together. We are working on a monthly basis, improving his current systems, automation, and AI for his business. Anyways, what we'll be talking about today is 2 core things. Basically, what we built for LawByMike, what does AI chatbot looks like on the back end and on the front end, and secondly, and most importantly, how to build an effective, reliable, and a highly converting AI chatbot for any business or any influencer out there. All right. So let's start from the AI chatbot we built for LawByMike. So basically, for LawByMike, we used 4 tools for setting this up. First thing is BotPress. BotPress is the AI no-code chatbot building tool we used to set his AI chatbot up. Second is OpenAI. OpenAI is the brain behind this AI chatbot. Third is Make.com, which we use to integrate different tools together. And lastly, ActiveCampaign is his CRM, where once we click the leads, we immediately send it over to them. And his chatbot we built basically relies on his Instagram right here. We also build one for his website, which you can find right here. But that's not what we'll be talking about. We're talking about his Instagram. So this is the AI chatbot. All right. So basically, this is what his AI chatbot looks like. And let me show you what the backend looks like. So this is what the backend looks like on BotPress. So BotPress is the brain or the source of truth for all this chatbot we're building. And they, on a monthly basis, they have like 1500 is an average users they usually get. And I can track of everything in here. And the backend looks something like this. So everything is separated by workflows. And this is how a typical AI chatbot looks like. This is connected to Instagram, and OpenAI is where everything runs. All right. So that thing is summed up. I will show you the backend soon. All right. This is what the conversational design looks like. I know it sounds confusing now, but by the end of this video, all of this is going to make sense. All right. Just stick with me. All right. So basically, there are 5 core steps when it comes to building an effective AI chatbot, all right, or a reliable chat agent. So basically, the first thing that you have to do in order to build a reliable chat agent for anyone or any business is identifying the core objective. What is the main objective for which they're building this AI chatbot? What is it that they're trying to streamline? What is it that they're spending so much time that if they get rid of it, them and their employees can save so much time that they can focus on what's important to them? And mostly it usually falls under these 4 categories majority of the time. I'm not saying it's not limited to this, but majority of the time it's this. So first thing is lead collection. So maybe they want a chatbot where they get a lot of leads coming in, and they just want to, instead of a contact us form that no one wants to use, maybe we just put an AI chatbot in there. It acts as a contact us form, collecting all the information in a conversational way. All right. Second thing is scheduling appointments. Maybe they don't want people to click this button, click that button. Then once they're qualified, we reach out to them with appointment booking, where they go through the appointment booking, find the available time. It's just a lot of steps, a lot of friction. You could lose leads, you could lose appointment, you could lose thousands of dollars because of it. So scheduling appointments may be a thing that they spend so much time in. They want to streamline using an AI chatbot. Answering FAQs is another thing where, if you're getting a lot of questions and queries, this is the most asked question, or the most one for Shopify users and D2C store owners that we worked with. Lastly, customer support. So maybe post purchase questions or return queries. All these things come into this place. And the thing is, your AI chatbot is not just limited to one. It could have more than one of these things. So one, the AI chatbot we built for LawByMike not just collects leads but also answers queries as well. So it's like two in one. So it can have more than one. All right, so this first objective, first thing you have to identify is what exactly is their objective. It's usually under these four categories. Once you identify their objective, the next thing that you have to do is you have to identify what the chat journey looks like. So what a chat journey means is, we humans tend to have certain behavior. We all move in a very predictable way. So what you have to do is you have to go through all the chats that the user has and analyze the pattern in which the chats usually go to. Especially if you're a beginner. If you're not a beginner, you would usually have a good understanding of what exactly the conversational design looks like. But the best practice is usually identify what the customer journey is like. What are the initial questions that they usually ask? Once you answer that questions, what happens next? What happens next? What happens next? So once you map these things out, you start to see a pattern that that people usually ask. For example, for LawByMike, what we notice is that the first thing that people ask is, hey, LawByMike, I'm facing this particular problem. Hey, LawByMike, I'm a big fan of you. So, hey, LawByMike, I have a brand collaboration for you. So, we see all these patterns and then we start grouping them together. We see these patterns, we write them down. So, we can set up an AI chatbot for all these patterns. All right. That's the first. Identify customer chat journey. So, go to the customer chat. What is the pattern that you see with all the messages that you recently received? So the third step is creating a conversational design. So this is what a conversational design looks like. This is a very complicated example, but I'm going to break it down for you. So what a conversational design means is the design in which the conversation is going to go through until you reach that objective. So whether it's lead collection, whether it's answering ethic use, whatever it is, right? The step-by-step process, the roadmap, you could say, or the flow in which the conversation is going to go down. That is what a conversational design looks. That is what the conversational design term means. So what we'll be doing is once we identify their objective and we identify the customer journey, the third thing that we'll be doing is creating conversational design. And what that means is, we define user messages. What happens next? What happens next? What is the AI chatbot going to do next? This is basically how the AI chatbot is going to make the conversation go. And a very complex or a very detailed overview could be something like this. For example, a lead sends a DM. What happens next? So this is the conversational chatbot, conversational design we built for LawByMike, which I am allowed to share because we built it. Persona bot initially greets them. The bot will give them. These are all the text, the copy that my copy team developed. So we greet them. Then the bot gives the overview to make sure they are it's legally compliant, and then we give them 3 different options to choose from. So I need a lawyer, I'm a video idea, I need a fan, I need a question, brand collab. So these are 4 buttons to choose from. And what happens when they select this button? The 3 options. What happens when they select this button? We ask this question, then this happens, then this happens, and there's 2 options. So basically, you now you get the picture, right? This is a detailed, what is the right word? It's like a holistic view of the entire conversational flow, and that's what a conversational design looks like. And conversational design is so important that there's an entire flipping institute meant for conversational design, and this is the institute that most of the top Fortune 500 companies go to. And I personally know one of the instructors or tutors in this academy, and she taught me a great bit. We worked on a project together. I believe her conversational design is what's used in Meta, it's what's used in Lace, all their chatbots is her design. So shout out to Michelle, you are amazing. I learned quite a bit from you. So there's a whole institute out there and whole industry out there for conversational design. All right, so you guys can check it out. They have their own courses, and yes, so that is that. So conversational design is very important, and Fortune 500 companies really value that a lot. So that's the third step in this whole process, that is creating conversational design. Once you identify their KPI and once you identify what the typical customer chat journey looks like. All right, so the next step, one more thing, one important note is that if you don't know what you're doing with conversational design, it's always best to follow the best practices. That is, best practice, a typical example is always collecting lead information at the end. Ask the giving them value, like a burst of value initially. It's like a best practice. It's a typical example. Whatever it is that you're doing, right, follow the best practice and follow what your competitors are doing. That's the best way to get started if you're initially starting from scratch. All right, so the next thing to do, once you create a conversational design that looks something like this. So this is what we built for LawByMike. So once you develop a conversational design, a simple one is what I would recommend, not as complex as this. I mean, if you guys want to, go ahead, have fun. But if not, start simple. And then what I want you guys to do is, before you build out the chatbot, you need a knowledge base. What is a knowledge base? Knowledge base is the data in which the AI chatbot or the AI chat agent is going to be trained on. So you're basically giving them a PDF or a document that's gonna give them a complete overview of everything about you, your business, what you guys do, and what are the typical questions they answer. Or no, what for example, if the KPI is answering FAQs, this document is gonna include who you are, what you do, and the typical FAQs and its answer. If it's a customer support, same thing, customer support queries. If it's appointment scheduling, maybe a link to book an appointment, all these things. You get the point. So basically, developing a detailed knowledge base about who you are, what you do, and whatever is important. And most importantly, once you develop this this knowledge base, make sure it is formatted correctly. If it's not formatted correctly, it's the AI chatbot can't read it. So there is best practices to follow when it comes to formatting it correctly, and each tool has its own formatting rules. So we followed best practice for BotPress, but VoiceFlow has a different formatting best practice, and all tools have their own best practices to follow. But typically, most of them follow a general best practice to follow. So you make sure you get it formatted correctly, all right? And once you develop the knowledge base, right, the next thing that you have to do is you have to develop the chatbot. So you can use tools like BotPress or VoiceFlow to build them out. I tend to use BotPress because BotPress is my favorite. I work with hundreds of, over a dozen tools. I use them, I research them, like IBM Watson X, Google's Dialogflow, and most of the top AI chatbot tools. I've already used them, and BotPress was by far my most favorite one. VoiceFlow is good if you're starting out, but BotPress is what real boys. When BotPress has a high learning curve, because of that, it's much complex and you can build complex stuff in. That is why I prefer BotPress. But if you want, if you're getting started, use VoiceFlow because it's a beginner friendly. The learning curve is much less. All right. So then what you have to do is once you set up the knowledge base, you can start building the AI chatbot. All right. And let me show you what that means. So basically, if you go to BotPress right here, you can create your own workspace. This is Mike's workspace. Hopefully there is nothing that I should not share here. He's a lawyer. He's going to sue me. Okay. Anyways, this is what a typical dashboard looks like. So if you can create a chatbot in their workspace, and if you go to the workspace, you can create a bot, and that's how you can create a bot. You can start from scratch, or you can use a template. And in here, you can easily set up a chatbot. You can easily set up a chatbot. Where is it? Yeah, you can easily set up a chatbot one action at a time. And let me show you the knowledge base. So this is where we attach knowledge base. So instead of creating a document and sending it in here, we basically used their rich text to add the knowledge base, because that's the best practice according to them. They told me that instead of using a PDF, put the data that you put in the PDF onto our rich text platform, so that we can index it correctly and we can index it easily and give them better answers. And we tested it out, and that's the reason why. I'm not going to open it up because it has important information that I can share with you, but that's basically it. All right. So that is what a knowledge base looks like, and this is what a typical chatbot build looks like. So I want you guys to build these things. Where is it? I want you guys to build the chatbots using BotPress or VoiceFlow, develop the whole thing, following the conversation design you built for your client, or if you build for yourself for your own business. All right. So the next thing that I want you to do is set up any necessary integrations that you need with the chatbot. For us, it was ActiveCampaign. So ActiveCampaign is like CRM to manage all the deals, all the prospects, everything. So we set up an integration where once we collect the information, we immediately send them to ActiveCampaign. At the same time, we send them to a Google Analytics platform, so we can track how many users and how many users we have and everything else. So any necessary integration that you have, you can connect them directly or using make.com. Right? And once you set everything up, right? So far, what have you done so far? We identified their KPIs. We created a conversation design based on the customer journey and the best practice. And next thing that we done is we created a knowledge base with the best practices to follow. And lastly, we built an AI chatbot. And then we develop the necessary integrations to all the softwares that we need. Now that this is done, the next thing that you do is you have to rigorously test, like life depends on it. One of the reasons I'm able to work with all the top clients is because my work is of pristine quality. How do I ensure it's pristine quality? Is because I test like my life depends on it. If I spend 10 hours working on a project, I spend 20 hours testing it out. I'm kidding. It's a bit of exaggeration, but it's somewhat the truth. I hope you guys get hope you guys get it. So I spend a lot of time testing everything out, because that's the way I ensure everything's for quality work. So every single part, every single conversational flow, I test every single thing out. Rigorous testing of the prompt, rigorous testing of the conversational flow, rigorous testing of the integration, everything. And once that is done, you can finally deploy it and be happy. But it doesn't end there. Once you deploy it, then what you have to do is you have to rigorously review everything, see the pattern, and then fine tune the model. So the latest model releases, for example, OpenAI released O1, you can upgrade it to O1. OpenAI releases O3, upgrade to O3, and not just upgrading to the latest model. Again, you have to keep updating the conversation flow. This is, you see this one right here, this is the version 3 ever since we published this 6 months ago. So we keep updating it, and the way we update it is by, one best thing, amazing thing about WordPress is if I go to conversations, I can see all the conversations people had so far with this AI chatbot. So it's on his Instagram and it's on his Messenger, and based on the conversational flow, I can analyze the conversation, see how people are performing, and then I can keep tweaking it. That's called fine tuning the AI chatbot. So that is where it doesn't end, but that is the last step in this whole process, making sure you build a reliable, worthy chat agent for any business out there that's going to pay you big bucks. Not just pay big bucks, make them big bucks. Because most importantly, what this thing does, and what I'm proud of, it's not just helping him streamline collecting leads, generating 3 times more leads than they have in the last 3 years, is that this thing is genuinely helping people. Because as soon as they message, this AI chatbot is trained to give them insights, tips for them to follow for their particular situation. So some of you may already know, I should have explained this before. LawByMike is a lawyer influencer. So people come to him for law advices. So this thing basically understands their query, empathizes with them, and at the end gives them practical steps to follow until we contact them. And in a life-threatening situation, or in a very, with legal thing being a very time-sensitive matter, that thing is going to be life-changing for some people. And that's one of the reasons why I love building these things, especially for big guys like him, because it's going to affect a lot of people in a positive way. So I guess, guys, that's the whole gist of this whole thing. My name is Fahad. I'm the founder of Automate Members. Hopefully you guys learned a bit about building effective AI chatbots. If you guys want more of such stuff, please encourage this behavior by subscribing and commenting whatever you like the most about this video and what you want to see next, and maybe I might share the whole thing with you guys soon. All right, see you guys soon.